Welcome back to the channel, fellow aviators. It is great to be back. I apologize for the lack of content last weekend. I ended up doing a red-eye flight, and I haven't done one of those, gosh, I think maybe a couple of years. I ended up leaving LA around 11 p.m. and then rolled into Philly around 7 a.m. local, and then like another hour and a half to get back home. So I didn't get home till about 9 o'clock in the morning, and I was completely beat. It completely threw off my weekend. I am not as young as I used to be. I was able to go out and have a good time all night, every night, and I just can't do that anymore. So it completely took me down. Anyways, looking at what we're doing today, I made a flight off camera, and now we are on day 2, leg 2, and in the process, if you see up at the very top, I have leveled up one time, and I have a little bit of money. So if you remember from the last episode, we had no money, and I ended up sleeping on the floor like a hobo, and so I thought maybe we would take care of that today. So I think the very first thing we want to do is probably go over to My Assets, and then we will go into Bedroom, and I will buy the luxury double bed. We'll confirm that. Great, it's in there. And I thought as well as we can probably see if we can get something in the kitchen. So let's go into here, and we'll go ahead and I'll just click a bunch of times till it does what I want to do. We will get the worktop. We'll buy that. Yes. And then I will also see, I'll just keep clicking as you probably hear. There we go. And we will buy the microwave, and we'll confirm that. And that hopefully should open up some better options for us in terms of meal prep. We will head on back. And as you see, you get 1 level for every time you level up. And I think every time you complete a shift. And so I'm sitting on about 6 skill points. So let's come into here. And I thought we would, well, we definitely want to go, we need to go down all of these. Eventually under job performance, I think we'll take 1 into multitask. Yep. And 1 into stress manager, and that will help me do my job better. And as you see, as we go down the list here, we can start unlocking Wings of Wealth, and then the Wings of Wealth tier 2 and tier 3, which is something I think we're going to want to do later. And then because I'm a nerd at heart, let's unlock this so I can start working on my own sim pit. And we're sitting on 3 skill points. Let's, should we unlock special offers? Should we unlock faster travel? If you remember last time, I ended up being 5 minutes late to work. Runner or social butterfly? Decisions. What is a social butterfly? Dive into the world of a social butterfly, enhancing your charisma and connectivity. Could I have any more charisma? Is that possible? Weaving a rich tapestry of friendship and opportunities. All right, unlocks basic social activities. A city card is required for most social activities. So it doesn't sound like I'm going to be able to get any direct benefit out of that. We can buy a car if we go down this. Let's unlock faster travel so we don't have to worry about being late as much. We're going to get all of them anyways. All right, so let's head back. So we now have a microwave and a bed, so I'm no longer a hobo. And we've unlocked a couple skill points. So as you see, I have flown out to Glasgow, and now we're getting ready to return back to Frankfurt, which should complete leg 2 on day 2, which should give us a little bit more experience points and definitely some more money. As you see, I am once again broke. So I am very excited to fly the RJ with you today. I have always thought that the RJ Professional is probably one of the better jets, and definitely one of the few regional jets we have available to us in Microsoft Flight Simulator 24. And right after SU3 came out last week, they finally updated the RJ Professional to be fully compatible with 2024. And what does that mean? Mostly, if you guys have flown anything from 2020, there are no collisions, right? You can just walk right through the plane. So this is now native to 24. The aircraft has some collisions. They've increased some of the textures inside the cockpit. And they've done a couple minor things with the autopilot. It's now not so sensitive in pitch. And they've actually customized all the interiors, which is really, really nice. So I'm excited to fly it with you guys today. So I think this is going to be a long episode. So let's just go ahead and hop out into the aircraft and let's get going. All right, welcome back, everybody. We are in the aircraft, and the eagle eye among you will have noticed we are, in fact, not in Glasgow. And that is because on my return flight, and I don't want to point fingers, but somebody forgot to turn on their microphone for OBS. And so it was a great silent movie, but we missed everything in that entire flight, which is really a shame. It turned out to be a very interesting flight coming back from Glasgow. Say Intentions didn't give us the descent, so that was an issue. They gave us a horrendous vector on the final, so had to do a lot of creative flying really quickly. And then I have seen this on a serious note, and you guys can let me know down in the comments because I'm genuinely curious, and I think I've mentioned this before. I have, especially here, it seems like in Germany, or maybe it might even be this particular airport, I actually have a glide slope, but it does not capture. And it seemed to only happen, I think, maybe here, or at least in a couple of airports I've flown with in Germany, or maybe it's this plane. I don't know. In any event, we had the DME, we had the localizer, we had the glide slope pop up on the PFD, and it just did not capture. So luckily, at that point, I pretty much, as always, you need kind of a 600 to 700 foot rate of descent to kind of stay on glide path. So I immediately just kicked off autopilot and made a raw data approach. So it was a lot of kind of like last minute, the big three when you're flying is aviate, navigate, communicate, right? And so I was a little bit busy, and I really wish I could have shown it to you guys. In the meantime, as we're doing a lot of yippee yap here, let's just come up to GSX. And GSX has been very, I'll be honest with you, very
catering vehicles are on
iffy for me. Every time I've asked, matter of fact, this is the second time I'm recording this, which you guys haven't seen, all the wonders of being a YouTuber, is because I have not been able to get GSX now for the second or third time in a row to actually do the pushback. And so it's pushed me back and then kind of like locked me into place. And I went through the whole startup procedure like literally maybe 10 minutes ago. And then when I had GSX attempt to push me back, nothing happened. We stayed in the same spot. So we'll probably use GSX for this, but we may kind of stop using GSX until at least it gets worked out. I don't know if it's an issue since the update. Anyways, we've called for catering. We will do that with GSX. And as always, the very first thing we want to do is we're waiting for the GSX catering service to show up. And I really like GSX. I think it adds a lot of neat features, right? Baggage loading. When you call for the van, it will, or the catering truck as we see out right now. These are the actual catering service trucks that you would get in Frankfurt. So we'll come up here. I've noticed, hit the open forward and aft service doors. These used to, keep doing it, these used to do this automatically. So since the latest update, I don't know if there's an issue with GSX. I have to do everything manually. But, these are nice immersion things, right? We've got catering service coming in, changing out our dolly carts. When you ask for boarding, you get the flight attendants come down. The pilots are no longer showing, so Fritz, that completely worthless first officer I've had, he's no longer showing up now since the latest update. Big loss, right? That guy doesn't say anything. So, anyways, let's make sure. Let's double check here. All right, I am already on the clock. Just want to double check here. You can't see that off camera. That fly the line has been dispatched. We've got 40 minutes and counting, which is plenty of time. All right, so the very first thing, as always, while we're doing this, is we want to apply power to the aircraft. Supposedly GSX is, if I get rid of the iPad there real quickly, you can see right there we got a dangling power cord. GSX now supports hooking up the power cord to the aircraft and supplying power that way. But as always, we will simply go old school and use our APU. All right, so the very first thing we will start off with is we'll put our weather radar on standby. We'll tilt it up to 15 degrees. That way, in case we make a mistake, we don't irradiate our ground crew and prevent them from having children. Free radiation vasectomies for everybody. All right, so let's come up here. The very first thing we're going to want to do is put our nav, strobe, and beacon in the lights and notices panel. We will come right down to the electric panel and now put our battery on. Now, I think I mentioned this in other ones. This is where things need to start happening pretty quickly. We either need to be hooked up on a GPU ground power unit, or we need to get the APU started up. In the Airbus, I have less than about 5 minutes before I close those doors as I'm talking here. I've got about 5 minutes before I start losing batteries. So it's kind of a, once I get those batteries on, things need to happen. I don't think it's quite as hardcore here in the RJ85. Really like this plane. I think we talked about this earlier. There's such a lack of good regional flying jets, and this is one of probably about 2 or 3 that I think is excellent. All right, so now that we've done that, we put batteries 1 and 2 on. We'll come right down here and put the APU gen on. Make sure that is on, and then you see if some of these have 3 dots on them, that means you use your middle mouse button. If it has no dots, then you use your left mouse button. I tend to make that mistake a lot. Anyways, we'll come up to the avionics panel, yaw dampener 1 and 2, autopilot 1 and 2, avionics master 1 and 2, anti-skid on, and our lift spoilers. All right, so that takes care of our avionics panel for now. We'll come over to the engine fire section, and we just want these T-handles in the forward position where they're at, and these, in real life, you would rotate between A and B, loop A and B, even odd. I always leave it up here in A. I don't think we have to get that immersive with it. Then from here, we're going to come down to the fuel panel, and we're going to turn right here, left inner fuel pump, and that supplies fuel to the APU. And at that point, we just click start, and now we look for an increase in RPM and an increase in temperature, which we're both getting, and we'll just wait for the APU to start up. And as it gets on speed here, right about, I think about 97%. All right, now we have APU supplying power to the aircraft. And from here, we are going to come down and remove the yoke here for just a second. And we're going to put our EFIS 1, EFIS 2, remove the yoke over here, and then we need to get the INS, get those aligned. And from here, let's come over, and we are going to do the boarding process, but we are not going to do it with GSX. And we'll just hit 74. I happen to know that right now, and we will just hit enter, and I've got it set on 10-minute boarding. So, all right, so we got the boarding process started. And from here, let's now go into the before start checklist. So once again, we will start off with the same lights and notices panel. We'll get cabin emergency lighting on. Then we're going to come down to the hydraulic panel over here, and we're going to put the DC pump on. You shouldn't see anything up here, but what we're going to do is going to come down to here. We're going to remove the parking brake. Now we're going to press in on the brakes, and now we should see an increase to about 3,000 psi on each one. Come down here, put our parking brake back on, and now we know that the DC pump works, so we'll turn that off, and then we turn the AC pump on, and now that will actually show up here at 3,100 on the psi, and then we hit the PTU, or the power transfer unit, which allows, in case there is a failure in the green or yellow hydraulic lines, or however they have it organized here, to move the pressure hydraulics between each system. All right, so that works, so we can turn that off. We're going to come down to here, and we are going to turn the engine anti-ice on. Pressurization at Munich, it is almost 1,500 feet, so we'll put 1,500 feet in our pressurization box. will cage our standby attitude indicator. Press our annunciator to get all of our lights on.
Wind shear, wind shear, wind shear. Glide slope. Pull up. Terrain ahead. Pull up.
Come down here, check our transponder.
TCAS test.
Then we will check our flight data recorder.
TCAS test. Pass.
We're just looking for that light to go out as we press up on the switch. And at this stage, all of our before start checklist items are done. We now need to program in the McDo, and we need to fire up the engines. Okay, so let's go over here. Are we actually loading? Did I start? No. Start boarding. There we go. Let's get that boarding process started. That should take about 10 minutes. Okay, so what we need to do at this point is to bring up, say, intentions. And I'm interested to see how this works since I just asked for my clearance a couple of minutes ago. So let's try it again. You saw that it's going to be all off camera since everything kind of crashed.
Lufthansa 712, requesting Cindy 70.
Level 60 advise on course heading, altitude.
All right, so
and
let's
flight
get our
following is requested.
ATIS ready
Read
first
back
thing.
all runway and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information uniform. Frankfurt Airport, information uniform. 1220 Zulu. Arriving runways 25 right, 25 left. Departing runways 18, 25 center. Wind 180 at 7. Visibility 10. Sky conditions, scattered at 3500 feet. Temperature 19er. Dew point 13. QNH 1017. Transition level 60 advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information uniform.
All right, from now, let's put in our clearance frequency, and let's see how this works a little bit. Lufthansa clearance. Frankfurt clearance, Lufthansa 94, requesting pick up our clearance with information uniform.
I'll have your clearance in just a second.
What we can do as well.
Give me 1 second for that clearance. Lufthansa 904, information uniform is correct. Cleared to Munich via the CND 8 Sierra departure runway 18. Initial climb to 7,000 feet. Departure on 118.505 squawk 3453.
And Lufthansa 94, we are cleared to Munich via the CND 8 South departure, departing runway 18. Initial climb to 7,000 feet and departing frequency 118.505 and squawking 3453.
Lufthansa 904, read back correct. Ground will be on 121.805.
All right, so now that we've got that, let's go ahead and immediately before we forget, put in our top of altitude. Come back here. 3, 4, 5, 3.
Give me just a minute.
We'll get that into TARA.
Right, Lufthansa 824 is cleared to Kastrup after departure. We'll fly the Maroon 5 Echo departure runway 7
what we can also
right.
do
Initial
is,
climb to
you'll find this on the
4,000
OFP.
feet. Departure frequency on
Under
118.505.
Page 1
Squawking
on the planned fuel
6722.
side, and it says for this flight we're going to need total fuel of our block fuel is 8425, so we'll just put it at 9,000.
Request clearance straight to
This is something we can do. Start the recording process. I got that set at 10 minutes as well. This is something we actually have a little bit of discretion with at my airline. I have the ability to add and not necessarily subtract. If you try to subtract fuel, you have to start bringing out trucks, and that's a real process. But normally our dispatch is going to tell us how much fuel. We're not really involved in that process on the slightest, other than dispatch organizes it for us, and then we just get the fuel slip and compare our fuel, what's required, what they put on board. But we do have the discretion. When I first started, about 2,000 pounds. Now they want it down to about 1,000 pounds that I can add without asking anybody. So maybe if the weather's a little bit worse than we expected,
clearance to St. Louis with information tango.
Ground. Take some of that stuff away. I do have the ability to change our fueling up. If I want more than 1,000 pounds, I have to call up dispatch, and it's really just about. I got to check weight and balance, and they got to check if they want to, I don't know, spend the money. If the aircraft can even get to the altitude we want to get at, if I put too much extra weight on. So, all right, so we've got our fueling started, we've got our passengers boarded, and we now have our ATIS and our clearance. So let's come down to here. We're going to turn, first thing we do is hit FMC. And we're going to get a note that says nav data out of date. Yep, it happens every single time, no matter what. And from here, we're going to go to position init, which will be R6. So this is kind of how you do the buttons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's R6. We're going to press up here at R1.
Lufthansa 112 request taxi to
Puts our
runway
position into the data pad down here. Scratch pad.
Contact tower on 136.5 so long.
So it's just telling the GPS where we're actually located. From here, we're going to come up and go to our departures. Actually, we'll come back to index, sorry. And now, one of the great things about this update for this aircraft since SU3 is we now have the ability to, as you see in R4, to load the sim brief. It makes it really easy. Prior to this update, and I think I would describe that we were going to have a whole class on how to use the FMS here. Don't have to. Super easy now. Now we just hit load sim brief. Come over, hit request. And just like that, it pops right in. Of course, this is the actual flight plan. With every sim brief, you're going to have to put in your own departures and arrivals. So let's go ahead and once again, clear that message out in the scratch pad. We'll come up to departures and arrivals. Very simple. We will hit departure.
Lufthansa 1507, we are ready for push and start.
We are told runway 18.
Lufthansa 1507, Frankfurt ground, push and start approved, face southwest.
And you're going to see that, I think, especially with this aircraft, not so much when you get into like the Phoenix and other aircraft, but these are slightly, as you saw, out of, we've got the note that said it was out of date, and so currently it's Cindy 8S, and what you see here is Cindy 5S, but I'm going to assume that's the same thing. Most importantly, if you're flying this aircraft, this little green button down here below R6, that's telling us we need to do something, and what we need to do is come to this button right here and select execute, so it goes into the system. We can now come back just to save some time if we like. We could do our arrival, and according to my sim brief, we're going to be landing on runway 26 right, so hopefully that's what we end up getting. And we know from our paperwork we're doing the Rocky 1B, and once we'll hit execute down here. So now we should have, we come up to legs, this is our
Frankfurt ground, Lufthansa 656.
our SID.
Alpha 40,
Goes to Cindy, and from Cindy, then we see, which is right on our flight
Lufthansa 656, push and start approved, face east.
Mox.
Push and start approved, face east, Lufthansa 656.
Then we get into Rockville,
Condor 1 Lima Foxtrot ready for
and then we're
pushback.
doing the actual ride, which looks like that's
Condor
pretty
1
short down there. And then we got the disco, which you should always have. You don't necessarily want to collect it up at the very bottom because you don't know in real life, and definitely if you're using any of the AI or ATC, they are going to probably vector us once we get down to MIQ. They're going to give us, they should be giving us a heading, and at that point, so you don't want to necessarily connect these two up, but I'll show you how to do this a little bit later as we kind of get, once they finally give us a direct to. All right, so we now have our flight plan in the system. Let's come to here. We have our clearance of 7,000 feet. We have our departure 3452. We've got ground in there. And now we need to come back over before we get started. And you see these flashing lights? That's the INS.
Ground Gulf Air 17, taxi to the gate.
Turns that on, and at that stage,
Gulf Air 17, taxi to
we
parking.
should be ready. So let's check and see where we're
left,
standing
then
in
Romeo
terms
11.
of
Romeo Tango, no range.
our refueling.
Taxi to parking.
So we're about
Cross runway 25
58%.
left, then Romeo 11,
Another
Romeo
4 minutes.
Tango, no
And
range,
so
Gulf Air 17.
we're going to need to wait till we get started up. And so I'll just cut back. I'll push out right here.
Foxtrot ready to taxi.
And I'll come back with you in
Condor
just a minute
1
once
Foxtrot.
we've got the
Runway
aircraft
18,
refueled and
taxi
boarded
via
up.
November 7.
Air Portugal 575.
All right,
ready to
everybody.
taxi.
I am back with you. We've completed
Air Portugal
fueling.
575. Runway
Boarding
18,
is
taxi via
complete.
Lima and South.
We have our flight plan in the box.
Airlines 112, request push and start.
And at this
Austrian
point, we can
112,
either
push and
start engines
approved.
at the gate like I
Face
mentioned in the last episode, or to keep it more realistic, we should probably be
Airbus
pushing
Austrian
out
Airlines
on the
112,
taxiway. So let's
request
go ahead
taxi to
and
runway 07 center.
remove
All
the chocks.
aircraft information. Whiskey is now current. QNH 1011.
And we want to get our brake off. Comes out nice and smooth. And let's go ahead and start the push. Good riddance, Fritz. You did nothing. It's a real shame too. Is that when he works, it's really nice because he's giving you gear up, gear down at the appropriate speeds, especially for gear down, flap speeds, I should say. Letting us know that the gears are up. He's actually fairly useful when he works. Disappointing that he does not work
Request push back and start.
that often.
Lufthansa 1507.
All right, so this looks
push back
like
and
that should
start
be
approved. Face
good.
southwest.
And we can cancel. Come to a stop. Put our parking brakes back on. And now we've completed the push, and we are not going to need that down here. All right, so let us do our starting checklist. Very first thing we want to do is come right over here, and this is called the TRP panel right here, and this is where you're going to input the airspeeds required for departure. Luckily for all the Just Flight Professional series, they have a couple click spots. We can actually change all that stuff with these buttons here. You can put in your
Condor 1
temperatures,
Lima Foxtrot
your
contact
V1
tower
speeds,
on
which you will see, the
136.5.
VR, V1. You could actually manually put those in right here, or if we kind of look up at the airspeed
Switching to tower, Condor 1
indication
Lima
right here,
Foxtrot.
all we have to do is click right here where it says 18, which is our preferred flap setting. And you see it puts in our numbers for us automatically. But we need to get that in there. The also thing we can do is we can change it from toga power
Lufthansa 2905, push back and engine start
what we
approved.
call in the
Face
Airbus
east.
flex power or reduced power setting. So that changes, doesn't change. So just that's something for the auto throttles.
Lufthansa 2905, contact tower on 136.5, take care.
All right, so what we want to do at this point is come up here, and in the real world, in the air supply panel, which is right here, we would have turned on the APU air supply and all the packs, or the bleed air, so we could get air conditioning in the cabin. But for engine starts, you want those all off in this position as you see it right here. So if you don't necessarily want to play around with it, just leave it like I do and don't touch it. We're going to come over to the fuel panel, and we're going to turn on all of our fuel pumps. At this point, we are
Condor
ready
Lima
to
Papa
start
Kilo.
the
Clear
engines.
for push and start.
So first thing we put
Push back
Start
and start
master
approved, Condor
on.
9 or Papa Kilo.
We're going to just start number 4 through 1. And then right here, we're going to middle mouse button, and you'll hear a little whine right there. You just pan down here. And now we're looking for 10% on the N2. Right there. We're going to click this click spot.
1507, we are ready for pushback and start.
And then you see we have a nice engine start.
1507, we are ready for pushback and start.
Azores 565, request push and start.
Azores 565, cleared for push and start.
Push back and start approved, Azores 565.
And from right there, we're looking at right around probably 50% on the N2 and N1 speed around 25. And that obviously when just things stop moving, that's when you know you've got to complete a start right there. At this point, we can start all the rest of the engines up. And in the interest of time, I will do that off camera. So I'll rejoin you once we get all 4
Condor 9
engines up
Kilo
and
ready
running.
to taxi.
All right, everybody, I'm back with you. As you see, we have all 4 engines up. And now let us do the after start checklist. The very first thing we want to do is engines to off and starter
Lufthansa
master
1 Romeo Kilo
off.
ready for push.
This is really an important step, and
Lufthansa
it's
1
caught me
Romeo
up a couple
Kilo,
times
cleared for
because the
push
next
and
thing
start.
after this is we're going to want to go over
Pushback approved,
to down
Lufthansa 1
to
Romeo Kilo.
Straight down to engine anti-ice off,
Frankfurt ground.
and then right over to the left to our generators,
Request push
1
and start.
and 4. And if you don't
Lufthansa
have
2 Bravo Hotel, push and start approved, face west.
the starter master off,
Push and start approved, facing west.
it will not
Lufthansa
work.
2
It's caught
Bravo
me out a
Hotel
couple
ready.
times. All right, so we got
Condor 3
generators
Hotel
1 and
uniform
4
ready for
on.
push.
We'll come up our,
Condor
to
3
our
hotel uniform.
up here to
Cleared
our
for push and
avionics
start.
panel. We want brake fans to,
Pushback approved, Condor 3
Auto.
Hotel uniform.
and since we're here, we'll go right down to the hydraulics panel, and we're going to put pump 2 and 3 on, and then AC pump on, PTU pump on, and then depending on weather, which come over to the ice protection panel, get all those on. Air
Lufthansa
supply,
1 Romeo
which is
Kilo
very
ready to
important
taxi.
here. Want
Lufthansa
these
1
bleeds
Romeo
on. If we
Kilo,
don't get these
runway
bleeds
25
on,
center taxi via
we will
November,
not be able to
November
pressurize
4,
the cabin,
Lima,
right?
Lima
And
3.
I have forgotten that.
Airport
Hard to believe.
575
And,
contact tower on
you get
136
a warning.
5.
So that should be 1,500 feet. That's perfect. Transponders TARA, we've got that.
Condor 4 Charlie Lima, cleared for push and start.
We can put our flaps to,
Condor 4 Charlie Lima.
oops.
Rolling
Jeez.
0749.
We want flaps 18 right there. I am just pressing all the
0749
buttons.
IFR to
Come over here.
to Stratford with
We want
information
taxi
for
lights
back.
on.
1 second while I grab the
And then while we're here, we're
paperwork.
going to put our flight directors, captain,
Eurowings 4 Delta Romeo, request
FO.
taxi.
and then we'll come over here and we want our DME on. Make sure you don't put them into the hold position, because if you do that, you will not be able to change your nav frequency. So we'll just put that in the on position. And then at that, the only thing we have to do at this point is to do our config test, which will be right
Condor
down
3
here.
hotel uniform, runway 18 taxi
Right here,
via
config check,
November.
but we can't do that
and
until we're taxiing, because we would get a warning because our, as we see right down, our parking brake is on. All right, so at this stage, let's take our camera, turn it on, and let's see if we can get our taxi clearance. Frankfurt ground, Lufthansa 94, ready taxi, runway 18. So this is interesting. You can't see it here. I'm just looking at the say intentions screen, and it's telling us to taxi via November 8, November. I don't know why it's not reading it back to us, which is a little bit annoying.
Ground Lufthansa 45, request taxi.
All right, so let's pull up our
Lufthansa
EFB and talk
45,
about what we're going
pushback
to do.
approved, face west.
All right, we're taxiing to runway 18 over here.
Lufthansa 45,
It says
request
November
taxi.
8, so what's going to ask us, what's effectively asking us to
Lufthansa
do
45,
is
request taxi.
we'll make a right-hand turn out of here onto November 8, the U-turn November 7 through November 8, and all the way November all the way down. So a little bit disappointing we're not getting our ground read back. All right, let's take a look, and it says we are. All right, it's got our push out done. All right.
Lufthansa 1 Romeo Kilo, give way to the Condor ahead.
Brakes off.
Condor 3 hotel uniform, Give way to the company ahead.
Lufthansa 66 Kilo requesting pushback. Pushback approved, facing red. Lufthansa 66 Kilo.
All right, so all we're going to do at this point is just
The
kind of
parking brake is still set. Please release parking brake and remove all chocks. Ground to flight deck cleared for engine start in sequence.
All right.
Condor 3 hotel uniform. Give way to the Etihad 789.
As I was saying, we're just going to make a U-turn here, taxi back to runway 18. So I will meet you on the runway, and hopefully, say Intentions will get its act together. In our next episode, will either be the last flight here in the RJ85, or we will start a brand new aircraft. So I think, you know, at this point we've kind of covered how to fly it. We've covered how to get it started. We've covered how to get the box program, which is super easy now. Don't really have to worry about that, how to get the power to the aircraft. And so I think it might be time to rotate another aircraft into the mix. And I think we will use Beyond ATC as well. I really want everyone to get a chance to check out all the different AI programs, and so you guys have a real great idea of what you would like to purchase. It's, you know, these things are not free. All right, so I will meet you at the end of the runway, or at the beginning of the runway, and we will take it from there. All right, everybody, I am back with you. We are short our runway 18. We have our departure heading in of 176.
Lufthansa 282 contact
And now let's see if we can get a clearance. Before we do that, though, let's do our auto throttles arm.
Lufthansa 282,
At this point, we should be ready to go.
Condor 4 Charlie Lima holding short of 18, ready to go. Condor 4 Charlie Lima, winds 180 at 11, runway 18, cleared for takeoff.
Tower Lufthansa 94, holding short runway 18.
Condor 4 Victor Romeo, holding short 25 center, ready for departure.
Condor 4 Victor Romeo, winds 180 at 11, runway 25 center, cleared for takeoff. Lufthansa 904, Frankfurt Tower, runway 18, hold short, you're number 1 behind the 21.
Lufthansa 94, hold short, runway 18. All right, so looks like it's talking to us again.
Lufthansa 904, runway 18, winds 180 at 11, cleared for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, Lufthansa 94, runway 18.
Lufthansa 122, IFR to Münster, information.
All right, takeoff.
Papa. Lufthansa 122, IFR to Münster.
I think one of the weakest things
Information. Papa.
about say Intentions is just the voice modeling. What you're actually hearing here, of course, are real live voices, which is why you get all sorts of people who sound maybe pretty good, maybe not so good, that the microphone is not totally set the correct way. So if you ask me, one of the weakest points of say Intentions, it's probably just the voice modeling. All right, so we are lined up. Apply our brakes. Let's get up to at least 50% on the N1. Right about there. And then we will click our click spot, and if you look down here...
Cabin crew, please take your seats for takeoff.
Check thrust.
Oh, he's actually going to work.
Thrust set.
We release brakes.
Lufthansa 430. Contact departure on 118.505.
118505, Lufthansa 430. Frankfurt departure, hello, this is Lufthansa 430.
Check.
Squawk 2163 set and wind is copied. Lufthansa 430.
Go. Rotate. Positive climb. Gear up selected.
Check. Just kind of pitch to the command bars.
Gear up. Lights out.
We're going to want to come up to here and select our LNAV button. At this point, we're looking for about 1,000 feet AGL, which is going to be right about here. And now we're going to go ahead and start to increase our speed.
Lufthansa 904, contact departure on 118.505.
118.505, Lufthansa 94.
Lufthansa 884, contact departure on 119.03.
119.03, thank you.
Speed checked. Flaps 0.
Flap 0. That is how your departure, and from this point then we can just hit nav 1, bring our autopilot in, and we can go over and get on departure since we've been taking our time since I was hand flying. Good morning, departure, Lufthansa 94, checking in 3,500 for 7,000.
Lufthansa 904, Frankfurt departure. I am not seeing your transponder. Confirm squawking 3453 mode CI dent one more time for me.
We can also start now that we have flaps all the way up. Start to accelerate to 250 knots.
Lufthansa 904, Frankfurt departure identified. Over Frankfurt Egersbach Airport at 4600 feet. QNH 1013. Climb flight level 070, climb flight level 220.
Climb to flight level 220, Lufthansa 94. Next we'll dial in flight level.
Ladies and gentlemen, the cabin crew have been released to the main service. But please note that the seatbelt signs
220. All right, and you can hear the cabin crew back doing their thing back there. I could have, if I wanted to, through the included electronic flight by giving them all the warnings. So it's a little bit late on that. And at this point, we are just en route. We got an airspeed set of 250. We see we're gradually making our way there.
Climbing 7,000.
Lufthansa 948, Frankfurt departure identified. Climb flight level 070.
Flight level 070, Lufthansa 948. Continue climb flight level 210, Lufthansa 948.
Lufthansa 4 Echo Juliet, direct MEV 2. Cleared for the RNAV Zulu runway 25 right approach. Descend and maintain altitude 5,000 until established.
So you can see, I think it's really helpful when Fritz is over
Lufthansa
here
4 Mike Alpha,
actually
direct
working.
Frankenstein.
He was actually
Cleared for the
telling me
ILS X-ray
what
runway
speed I could
25
bring
center approach. Descend and maintain altitude 5,000 until
my
established.
flaps up. And he will do the same thing here as we begin slowing down. He'll tell me I'm okay to do my next flap selection, because every flap is going to have what they call VLE, which is the flap never exceed speed. And so we use, at my airline, VLE minus 10. So whatever that speed would be that we can actually use the flaps, we take another 10 knots off that to avoid any flap over speeds, which would require like additional maintenance. And so he's actually extremely helpful at this point. And I'm glad we got a chance to use him. So you can see the advantages he gives us. All right, and we're coming up on 10,000 feet, so normally at this point I would
904, climb flight level 230.
Climb flight level 230. I would bang the seatbelts on, off. That let them know I am here.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has switched off the
Roger.
You are free to move about the cabin.
I'd hit it once and they'd let everyone up. I would just ding it once, let them know that we're out of the sterile cockpit, because at that stage what we don't want is up to 10,000 feet, any of the flight attendants bothering us with any shenanigans.
Lufthansa 3 Papa Kilo request
All right, so we set flight level 230.
Lufthansa 3 Papa Kilo, something went wrong on this end, and I wasn't able to do the math on the vectoring approach. This has been reported as bug, but you need to get yourself to the approach fix.
Okay, I've never heard that before. All right, guys. We probably still have a little bit of a ways to go. It's going to be a little over an hour flight.
And right, heading 105.
And I think this will be a fairly long
altitude 4,000
episode. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut us out here, and I'll bring you in as we get a little bit closer. All right? All right, everybody. I am back with you. We've been told to expect a descent here in probably the next couple minutes. And we've been told to expect 26 right. So here's the star. Not a lot to talk about it. We're going to be coming in from the Rocky 1, and then really the next fix after that is going to be MIQ, and that's pretty much it. So not a lot to talk about for this arrival. For the actual approach, we have for the ILS 26, let's just make sure we got on the right track there, ILS localizer runway 26 right. We're looking at a localizer frequency of 108.7 and a final approach course fix of 261. You can see that is set on the left. I have additionally put in the standby 108.3. That is the ILS for 26 left if something happens. We have like a little bit of a backup. All right, glide slope intercept will be over, what is this, MNW, basically it's 8.0 DME at 2,700 feet. And
Lufthansa 904, cleared Rocky 1 Bravo, arrival into München. When you're ready, descend flight level 150.
All right, clear for the Rocky 1 Bravo arrival into Munich, and when ready, descend to flight level 150. So while we're yippity-yapping here, let's go ahead and dial in one 50, and we can do level change. There's one way to do. You see how it really brings us down, which is really not probably a great way to make that arrival. So what we're going to do is we'll hit vertical speed instead. Oops. Let's really start to accelerate. So let's bring this back up to something like normal, which is why we really don't want to use level change, right? Just want to demonstrate that level change is not the way to come down, all right? So we'll just do 1,500 feet, and we'll just use vertical speed instead. All right, as I was mentioning with my brief, airport elevations 1,500 feet, so our decision altitude would be 1649 or 200 feet RGA, 3,700 feet for the MSA all the way around, and in the event of a missed approach, we'll be flying straight ahead to DME 1.0 west,
level 220.
1,900 feet, whichever is lighter, then right turn direct to the MIQ BOR NDB, climbing to 5,000 feet, checks out. We'll be coming here from MIQ, and I would expect at some point we'll have that disco, we'll have a radar vector, and they should give us a nice right base to final, onto our final approach course fix. Looks like our highest obstacle, which is that arrow right next to MIQ, is 2344. All the ways down there, so we should see Pappy's on the left with an ALS F2 lighting system. And this should be a visual approach. Bring up our, and off of 26 right, we can expect to exit off here probably Alpha 6, Alpha 4, and then Alpha 4 directly into the gate. We'll just find the closest gate we can get to. All right, so that concludes our brief. Our charts are ready to go. And the SID.
Proceed direct Delta Foxtrot 680, clear for the ILS.
Lufthansa 904, descend flight level 060. Turn left heading 065 vectors for the ILS runway 26 right approach.
And Lufthansa 94, descend to flight level 060 and heading 065 for the ILS 26 right. All right, so we will continue our turn to 065 and do heading select. We'll do 6,000 here.
Lufthansa Nina 4, descend altitude 6,000 feet. Turn left heading 065 vectors for the ILS runway 26 right approach.
Lufthansa 3 Papa Kilo.
Lufthansa 94, descend altitude 6,000 feet. Turn left heading 065 vectors for the ILS runway 26 right for Lufthansa 94.
Flight level 350, Langen radar on 125, decimal 2.
Vertical speed.
Lufthansa 3 Papa Kilo,
We'll
good
start
day.
around 1,500 feet or so and see where that puts us. And what I mean by that, let's go ahead and look. All right, sorry. At our PFD here, we can zoom in. That is the green arc is where we're going to hit about 6,000 feet. So we'll just use a little bit more. To the vertical speed. 2,000. Start getting this down. You see we're hitting 280 knots. That's what we're holding. That's fine. As we get closer to 10,000, we'll start slowing ourselves up to 250 knots.
Lufthansa 904, traffic at your 12 o'clock, 2 miles. At flight level 110, A319.
Clear of conflict.
Lufthansa 94, traffic in sight.
Traffic.
All right, here as we get a little bit closer to 10,000 feet, let's go ahead and start.
Clear of conflict.
Slowing up. That was a nice traffic call. A little bit late, but we ended up seeing it.
Delta 22, contact München Tower on 118.705.
Let's go ahead and dial in 250 now.
118.705 for Delta 22. Good day.
And you're seeing here a phenomenon that we see a lot in any jet. You can either go down or get down. Well, we could probably make this, but let's just have a little bit of fun.
Lufthansa 1 Juliet Tango, contact München Tower on 118.705.
Throw out our air brakes.
118.705 for Lufthansa 1 Juliet Tango.
There we go, right back on speed. Perfect. All right, so 10,000, 4,000 feet to go. You can look down here. F126 right is our final approach fix. Come down here.
Lufthansa 904, contact Munich approach on 132.305.
Munich approach on 132.305 for Lufthansa 94. Good morning, Lufthansa 94, checking in 9,000 for 6,000.
Lufthansa 904, Munich approach identified. Good morning.
Guten Tag. That, folks, is 3 years of German in high school and 2 years in college.
Lufthansa 904, Guten Tag, identified, confirmed. Continue as planned.
Okay, continuing as planned for Lufthansa 94.
Lufthansa 7 Papa Foxtrot is established on the ILS 8 right.
Still a little bit fast. Let's throw out those.
Lufthansa 7 Papa Foxtrot, contact
brakes
München
again.
Tower on 118.705.
118.705. Lufthansa 7 Papa Foxtrot.
And we can either keep those speed brakes out or we can pop them back in.
010, 6 Juliet Judith.
And we just do
München
our vertical
approach, Swiss
speed.
1120, flight level 130.
Swiss 1120, radar
All right,
contact.
7,000 descending 6. All right, We are really far off from
Lufthansa 904, turn right heading 150.
right turn heading 150. I was just going to say we need to probably slow down, but we're really going away from the airport. Now it's 150 on the header. I'm just looking on my iPad here. Still quite a bit of ways. We should be able to see ourselves here on our charts here, coming over here. We're coming up over just north of Landu right here. So we are up actually just kind of northwest of Landu right now.
Water rate 036 Juliet.
Lufthansa 904, proceed direct Gudeg. Descend flight level 050 until established on the localizer cleared for the ILS runway 26 right approach.
All right, proceed direct to Gudeg, descend flight level 050 and until established on the localizer cleared for the ILS 26 right approach. All right, so as we come down here, we don't have Gudeg on our flight plan, right? It's just not in there. So Gudeg is G-U-D-E-G. I'm just going to drop that right here above our final approach fix. And then we can drop this in the scratch pad and put it under Gudeg, where we get rid of that disco. And now we're going to be able to proceed direct. Let's go LNAV. Turn for us. Not. Let's go heading here in the meantime. And we can go down to 5,000 vertical speed. Here to 6. That's interesting. So even though we were able to put it in there, it doesn't look like it's registering. Let's see. Yeah, it's just not
Traffic. Traffic.
But this will get us pointed in the correct direction, which is fine. So you do have to have the ability to, once again, aviate, navigate, communicate. And so even though Gudeg wasn't on there, and it doesn't seem like it's picking up here in our database. As I look here, I don't see Gudeg anywhere here.
Departure Lufthansa 6 Uniform Victor 2000 for 4000.
But if we look
Lufthansa
at
6 Uniform Victor, radar contact. Climb and maintain 7,000.
Over to our chart.
Climb 7000, Lufthansa 6 Uniform Victor.
Munich approach. Lufthansa 2 Kilo Whiskey, flight level 150. Here. And as we get a little bit closer here, you can see we picked up the localizer DME here, 16.10.
Lufthansa 6 Uniform Victor, contact Munich radar on 120.78.
And Gudeg is 5,000. So at that point, we should be able to
120.78 for Lufthansa 6 Uniform Victor.
Approach fix, once again, we said was going
Munich
to
radar,
be
Lufthansa 6 Uniform Victor 1000.
Lufthansa 6 Uniform Victor, radar contact.
2690.
Lufthansa 6 might contact Munchen Tower on 118.705.
So what I think we should do here is get a little bit closer.
Lufthansa 6 Mike.
Munich approach. Lufthansa 5 Yankee X-ray.
We can go ahead and hit approach.
Flight slope alive.
Lufthansa 5 Yankee X-ray, radar contact.
And we'll just have to be prepared
Lufthansa
to
6
see if it
Uniform
doesn't
Victor.
pick,
Climb and maintain flight level 140.
The glide slope, that is.
Climbing to flight level 140, Lufthansa 6 Uniform Victor.
So
Lufthansa 94, contact Munchen Tower on 118.705.
118.705 to Lufthansa 94.
Localizer alive. Glide slope captured.
There we go. We want to make sure that's what we want to see. And what we want to see here at the very top of the PFD is very top we have AT, auto throttles, indicated airspeed, autopilot's in green, glide slope 1, localizer 1, and that just lets us know.
Lufthansa 7 Echo Echo, holding short of 26 right, ready for departure.
Lufthansa 7 Echo Echo, wind calm, runway 26 right, cleared for takeoff.
Let's go for 200 knots.
Cleared for takeoff, 26 right, Lufthansa 7 Echo Echo.
DLE speed's going to be, I think it's 215, so let's just start slowing down.
Lufthansa 345, contact departure on 120.78.
And let's check in with the tower.
Departure 120.78, Lufthansa 345. Departure on 120.78, Lufthansa 345.
And tower, Lufthansa 94, checking in with you on the ILS 26 right approach.
Lufthansa 904, Munich Tower, roger, continue approach runway 26 right.
I continue approach for 26 right, Lufthansa 94.
Lufthansa 904, Munich Tower, winds calm, runway 26 right, cleared to land.
26 right, clear land, Lufthansa 94. All right, we got her cleared.
Lufthansa 904, roger, continue approach runway 26 right.
Continuing. So Lufthansa 94. All right, so that was kind of a nonsensical. Once they tell you you're cleared to land, you are cleared to land. There's not a whole lot of continuing.
Speed checked, gear down.
All right, so let's drop our gear. Thank you, Fritz. And we will continue to slow down.
München Tower, Lufthansa 2 Kilo Whiskey, established on the ILS runway 26 right.
119 is our...
Lufthansa 2 Kilo Whiskey, roger.
Our speed. And we can do a little bit of
Lufthansa 6 Papa Uniform. Traffic. Welcome to München. Contact ground on 121.83.
121.83, Lufthansa 6 Papa Uniform.
Flaps
Bye-bye.
24.
Right. Drop flaps 24. So you see a little bit of a late turn there for us, right? We've been kind of angling back in towards the right.
1,000.
Captain 366 for line.
Speed checked, flaps 33.
All right, flaps. He checks flaps 33. But we were able to use our autopilot the entire time.
Cabin is secured for arrival.
Bring up our airport chart for a taxi later. And kind of get rid of that. We don't need that anymore. So we got all of our flaps in. We are kind of going towards the runway. It's an interesting
München
approach.
Tower, Lufthansa 2 Charlie Foxtrot, established on the RNAV runway 26 left.
All right, airspeed is 119.
Lufthansa 2 Charlie Foxtrot, roger.
So next thing we're going to want to do
Lufthansa 5
is
Hotel X-ray, contact departure on 118.83.
turn our auto throttles off.
Departure on 118.83, Lufthansa 5 Hotel X-ray.
Weird ILS. These actually kind of do happen. You kind of get
minimums.
All right, continuing. Even in real life, like JFK is known for that. You
Clear
actually are
of
not
conflict.
lined up.
100.
Air brakes out.
München Tower, American 716, established on the ILS runway 26 left.
50. 40. 30. 20.
Roger.
10.
Ground idle.
Wow.
Traffic.
That was rough.
Yeah.
Well,
Spoilers,
we're
yellow
down.
and green. Brake pressure checked.
Just went airborne, hitting that bump. I would love to see. I would
60
love
knots.
to see
Lufthansa 904, welcome to München. Contact ground on 121.83.
München Tower, Lufthansa 6 Lima Alpha, established on the ILS runway 26 right.
What the F, man? That is ridiculous. That is literally ridiculous. I mean, my landing wasn't good here.
Lufthansa 5 Yankee X-ray, winds calm, runway 26 right, cleared to land.
Cleared to land, 26 right, Lufthansa 5 Yankee X-ray.
How about we just turn off, say, intentions for now? I think I have had enough. All right, well, that landing was horrible, kind of trying to turn and land at the same time. You see, we're right on glide slope and localizer, and we were way, way, way off course. I should have, at 1,000 feet, just kind of got us a little bit more lined up. Just kind of figured it would gradually bring us in here. What the hell is with this airport? Look at this. Right in front of us. God, the texturing is horrible. I thought
15 minutes and we're late.
Yeah, okay, thank you. And this is, look at this, it's crazy. What the? All right. All right, in the meantime, so we can, I'm sure I'm going to lose plenty of points for that landing. Bring our flaps up, and we will taxi in. And I will check in with you after we've shut down. So that was a little bit of adventure on the landing. Just a 2-bouncer. Wow, that was horrible. All right, I'll see you all in a second. All right, let's go ahead and end the flight. Analyze my data. Oh my God, that landing was so rough. No negatives. Well, I guess they weren't on board for the landing. All right, 94 of 100. You have anything for me? Descent? I'm saying no negatives. 45% in the touchdown zone. I'm just looking for why we got 94. Nothing. I mean, it does say no negatives. Well, that landing was super rough. All right, let's hit continue. $41. We're in the money. All right, folks. So that's where we are at today. I'll do some of these off camera. Probably. I'll definitely do Munich back to Frankfurt. God, this airport is horrible. Did you see it? Went airborne like I think 3 separate times hitting some of these things. Man, that's bad. I think I'm gonna avoid Munich. But I'll do probably off camera. I will do the Munich back to Frankfurt. We may do Frankfurt up to, I imagine I'll probably do this one back on camera. Westerland, Silt back to Frankfurt. And we'll either do that in this aircraft and we will bring the weather down as low as we possibly can. Of course, that would have been a massive failure today. Or we will just use a brand new aircraft. Let me know in the description if you guys are ready to move on. All right, everyone, I appreciate all the support. Channel's been doing great. I appreciate every single one of you. I enjoy making the content. I was going to say, you should see down in the description below now, I have changed the Discord link, and so it now should be a permanent link. It should no longer expire, and it should be custom. So if you want to jump on the channel, as I've mentioned before a couple times, I end up, like, when I'm not recording, I will either be streaming like DCS or one of the aircraft I'm probably learning or prepping or getting ready to fly or just flying for fun. And love to have you just kind of jump in, say hello, and I will jump in on your streams if you're streaming in my Discord as well to say hello. Other than that, please like, subscribe, and support. It's very much appreciated, and I will catch you all in the next one. Take care for now. Bye.